Welcome to Invest's new short form series geared towards the next generation of impact leaders. My name is Kevin Webb, and as part of Invest, we capacity build family offices, funds, endowments, and financial institutions on impact investing. The purpose of this new series is to educate and inspire the next generation in the workforce by having conversations with Gen Y and Gen Z currently working in and making a difference in the impact industry. One of our goals is to bring to light the various roles and opportunities that exist within the impact world, as well as discuss potential paths to achieve those roles. Our first amazing guest is Jen Ballen. Jen currently works at Indigo AG. She is the head of global market operations, and Indigo AG is an ag tech firm that's revolutionizing the agriculture system. Previously, she was the director of sustainability and corporate reputation at DrinkWorks, which is a division of Anheuser-Busch. And she has also been featured in Green Biz's 30 Under 30 for Sustainable Leaders in 2020. And on top of all of that, in her spare time, she has co-founded Before It's Too Late, which is a nonprofit based here in Miami, and it utilizes art and technology to inspire the public to fight climate change. As well, she has also founded an editorial blog, which is called The Sustainable Investor, which, by the way, I highly recommend because it has very good nuggets of information and thought. So with that said, welcome, Jen, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the warm welcome.
No problem. So actually what I didn't mention was that you got your start in the traditional finance role within investment management at Morgan Stanley. So really, why the transition between that world and getting into impact and sustainability?
Yeah, great question. So I graduated Lehigh University in 2013, had studied finance and had done my internships on Wall Street, and was really excited to join Morgan Stanley right after graduating. Joined in traditional asset management, as you mentioned. And as I began working there, and I had some West Coast institutional clients who started asking about things involving impact and investing. It wasn't really called impact investing at the time, but it was investing with something other than profitability in mind. And to me, that caused me pause to say, okay, that's interesting, because I'm really fascinated by human behavior and behavioral economics. And so I dug into this and did some more research on the fact that profit and impact need not be mutually exclusive, as of course we know well today. And so I found all of this research so fascinating. I started then the Sustainable Investor blog. That's really where the name was born, because I was writing about topics at the intersection of sustainability and investing. And at that time, I also went to Brazil and became trained by Al Gore's Climate Reality Leadership Corps, which was super cool. The program still exists. I think it's virtual these days, but it was an opportunity to be with other like-minded individuals and learn about the science behind climate change. And it was there that I really started understanding the problems that we are facing as a world and the true crisis that we are in. And I decided then to leave finance, to leave the investing world and go to business school, where I could kind of try out different careers in impact.
Yeah, that's cool. And were there any resources that you used at the beginning of those stages that helped you understand more of the industry, more of the jargon, and really helped you get up to speed with what was going on?
Yeah, I'm trying to think back. I definitely use a lot of resources because that was how I wrote my blog. So each blog article would take 30 to 40 hours of research. Wow. But I'm trying to remember the exact sources. I liked the Climate Reality Leadership Corps. I trusted that source of information. And then I would kind of get a nugget of knowledge from that, either the Facebook page, honestly, or just the research that they put out, and then kind of go deeper in research in that. I always like to validate my sources. So if I read something like, X crop is going extinct, then I, validate that, or such and such about hydrogen energy. And then I read 10 other things just to make sure it's true.
I can vouch that there was a lot of research behind the scenes for those blog posts. They're very detailed and well thought out. And I would also add that the GIN website, the Global Impact Investing Network, it's a consortium of great knowledge for people who are just getting into this world. And I think the Rockefeller Foundation has put out an intro paper that's like 100 pages that describes exactly what impact investing is and the different ecosystems at play within it. So those are two others to what you said.
Yeah, I guess, sorry, to be more specific, two that come to mind as you're saying those are the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, which focuses on circular economy, which was a huge part of my career after business school. And then the UN, I think, also has a lot of really good research with the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals.
Exactly. Yeah, great. And so given everything that you've done, what's been the coolest project that you've worked on, the project that you thought either gave the most impact or that you just personally liked to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the project that I have enjoyed the most was co-founding the Before It's Too Late startup. As you mentioned, it's based now in Miami. I went to MIT Sloan for business school after Morgan Stanley and met my two co-founders there, Linda and Hanson. And I had never worked in virtual reality, but we had started thinking about climate change and a system approach to why was climate change such a problem and why was action so stagnant? And we thought the technological solutions exist, but there's an empathy gap, and climate change feels geographically and temporally distant, and therefore people don't act. And by that, I mean, it's not happening to me today here. And of course, in Miami, that's probably a little bit different, but in 2015, in the Northeast, like certainly it wasn't felt deeply by people in their everyday life. Since then, of course, we've had more disasters. And so I think that it's become more obvious. But so anyway, so we loved the intersection of art, science, and technology. And we set forth in creating a virtual reality nonprofit to really show what would happen upon different actions or lack of action as the climate continues to worsen. And really, really cool experience. We partnered with the mayors of Southern Florida, and we started doing productions about sea level rise. The company's since shifted a tiny bit and now is focused more on augmented reality, but actually just had a board meeting yesterday with Hanson and Linda, still a bit involved, although, more hands off now. But I would say that was definitely the coolest project I've worked on so far.
And it makes complete sense because if it's out of sight, it's out of mind, and it seems like you're pulling it to reality and current day, and helping us experience what it may be like if we don't take action.
Absolutely.
So now, fast forwarding to today and your experiences at Indigo and DrinkWorks, how did you find those? What did you go through networking? Did you apply blindly? How did you find those opportunities to follow your passion and continue to exist in the impact world?
Yeah, great question. So at business school, I was debating, do I continue with the startup? Do I go into the corporate world? And what should I do after business school? I actually had a very cool internship in between my MBA years where I interned at the National Hockey League, also working in sustainability. So I was kind of deciding, should I do that after business school? But I had met the chief sustainability officer of Anheuser-Busch, Tony Milliken, who's an amazing person. And he had offered me a role, first in the role to lead global packaging sustainability. And as I was in business school thinking, how can I make the most impact possible? I was really excited about packaging at Anheuser-Busch because they're the largest buyer of glass and second largest buyer of aluminum in the world. And so I thought, if I'm working on packaging sustainability, like what a very cool, scalable way to make impact. So I went back to New York and helped Anheuser-Busch create the 2025 sustainability goals. I ended up moving back to Boston a few years after that and working at DrinkWorks right after Anheuser-Busch. And I moved back to Boston for personal reasons, but DrinkWorks was a really cool opportunity as well because it was still part of the Anheuser-Busch family, which I'm very fond of. And it was a whole different set of challenges. So at Anheuser-Busch, I was focused on how do you change long-lived profitable practices? We have bought the same type of glass for years and years, and our supply chains operate in a certain way. And Jen over here wants to embed the sustainability initiative. And those are really hard conversations, right? You have to prove the business case and try to find win-win scenarios and prove that maybe consumers care more if it's recycled glass or cullet, or, so those were hard challenges. At DrinkWorks, the challenge was, how do you embed sustainability initiatives to a company that's just starting out and still needing to achieve profitability? And the argument that I'd be faced with was, yes, we think this is important, but how can we make an impact if we aren't existing in the world? We need to validate the business first. Right. And so I was trying to say, well, can we build with sustainability in mind? Because it's more expensive to go back. I had just seen what it was like to try to go back, right? And so just really different set of challenges. And then to bring it all the way forward to Indigo, I kind of got to a place in working at Anheuser-Busch and DrinkWorks where I was focused on those business operations. And I felt like I was trying to minimize the impact of business while still allowing the business to thrive. And I thought, if I shift to a mission-driven company, still for profit, so ability to scale, but mission-driven, then instead of trying to minimize a company's impact, I'm going to be focused on maximizing a company's impact. And I really liked that theory of change differently. And so that was really the push for me to go and work at Indigo AG, which has been really exciting. As you mentioned, really revolutionizing the ag space. And being at a mission-driven company, there's no sustainability team. So that was a little bit different for me because I'd always been like the head of sustainability. So I had to say, okay, what is my technical skill set? Because I'm not going to be on a sustainability team anymore. Is it finance? Is it marketing? Is it ops? And I realized that operations is so similar to sustainability because it's all about doing more with less. And that was like really where I felt like my home was. And I think that's been true. And I've enjoyed the operational aspect of working at Indigo AG.
Interesting. A very, very cool transition between those two. And I guess just two final questions. I don't want to keep you too long. I know you have 1,000 things to do. Where can people contact you if they have further questions or want to learn more about your background or think they can help in some aspect?
Yeah, I am absolutely open to people contacting me. I think the sustainability world needs as many doers as possible. So always happy to help people looking to move forward in their career. And I can be reached at thesustainableinvestor@gmail.com.
Okay, great. So that's thesustainableinvestor@gmail.com. And the last question is, what does impact mean to you? And what is the impact that you want to have on the community?
Yeah, that's a really good and also hard question. Impact to me is about working on things that you might not necessarily see the end result of. So I think someone said, like, the best thing in life is to plant trees that you never see grow. And I think that is really true impact, where you're working kind of out of selflessness, and you're working. And, I feel like a deep mission in working in climate change, because I want this world to be better for future generations, my kids and my grandkids.
We really appreciate your time and highly informative. And once again, thank you very much for imparting your knowledge and your experiences along your journey.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for having me.
No problem. We'll talk soon.